Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of the Rogers Radio Podcast. I am your host, Alyssa Rogers, and today we are doing something brand new, something I have never done before. And we are recording this podcast virtually with the one, the only, Eric Thomas, president of Rival Digital. Let's go.
Woot woot, let's go. I
Yes.
wish I was as cool as the other Eric Thomas, the motivational speaker, but for the sake of this episode, I'm the one and only.
Well, you're cool to me. You're cool in my book, and I appreciate you being on the Rogers Radio podcast today because you are a huge part of why the Rogers Radio podcast is what it is today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So,
I'm excited. I'm excited to be a guest on your show. Can't
yes,
wait.
because let's face it, I would not be doing a podcast if it weren't for you. So, to all of my listeners and everyone listening today, this podcast, the Rogers Radio podcast, would not be a thing, would not be real life if it weren't for this guy here, Eric Thomas. Um, I had always wanted to do a podcast, and it was always on my goal list, but it was a conversation with Eric that actually pushed me over the ledge and got me into podcasting. So I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm very proud to see your podcast doing so well and all the people that you all are reaching with it. So super excited to chat with you about it.
Yeah. But first, I want to get to know you better.
All
And
right.
so I want to know, Rival Digital, you see on the screen if you're watching this beautiful Rival Digital logo. You guys do so much. And I want to know kind of your background and how Rival Digital is where it is today.
Yeah. So I think one time when you were on my podcast, I started this by saying I was born a baby, but I'll save your listeners the trouble of listening to my entire life story. But yeah, so I was born in Kentucky, but grew up here in Virginia, southeastern Virginia, in a little town called Pocosin. It's in the peninsula area, southeastern Virginia. But I currently live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Started Rival Digital October 2020, so coming up on 3 years pretty quickly, which is exciting. Had some experience prior to this in the home services space, both as I was a warehouse helper and a parks runner for a commercial heating and air company here in Virginia Beach, and then doing the marketing side for home services for a little while before starting Rival. But yeah, we got started with Rival in October of 2020, and pretty much we exist to help contractors, heating and air contractors like yourself, just reach more homeowners so that you can provide world-class service for them, so that they're nice and cozy in their homes and are saving big on their monthly utility bills and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we do so through digital marketing services, online marketing, website design development, uh, search advertising, social media marketing, all that fun stuff that you see on the internet. Um, and now we also do podcast services, which
Yeah.
it wasn't even a thing. So we have our own podcast that Alyssa's been on as a guest twice now. But ours is a little different. Ours is kind of catered towards helping contractors with ideas for marketing, all that fun stuff. Um, and so we already had our own podcast, and then when I kind of, for lack of better words, bullied Alyssa into starting when I was like, you have no choice, we're doing this. We just kind of started doing it, and now it's something that we offer for contractors out there. So we kind of help them with their podcast, from coming up with a name, getting it streaming across all the big platforms, and all that fun stuff in between. So that's kind of where we're at today.
Yeah. And it's really great because I feel like we're definitely growing together. And,
Mhm.
you're definitely part of the Rogers family located in Virginia Beach area. So not too long of a drive to get here. So you are always at all of our events. And it's just great to have you part of the team.
Yeah.
And what did they joke with you last time? If there's food, you'll come.
Yeah, yeah. They were saying, I think it was, oh gosh, I can't remember who it was. One of them was, it was one of the folks in the Opportunity Center.
Yeah.
They were joking with me. They were like, every time food's here, you all show up. Anytime lunch is getting catered or anytime there's going to be lunch provided, Eric and his team shows up conveniently to
Yeah.
partake. So, yeah, we love it because it's a nice little 3 hour drive,
Yeah.
and it's fun to get out there and just hang out with y'all's team. You guys have such an incredible team, such an awesome culture, and it's just fun to hang out with you any chance we can get.
Well, we love when you're here. And, you are taking Rival Digital to big places and helping so many people. Did you always know that you wanted to run a company, grow a company, be a leader of a company? Did you always know that from a young age?
I've always known that I was different than other people. I was always the kid. I was getting in trouble in class for talking. I was getting in trouble for not paying attention.
Mhm.
Um, just consistently scooted on by life with a nice clean 2.0 GPA. Just one of those kids, the one in the back, talking, texting, passing notes, joking around. I never knew that I really wanted to necessarily start a company. In college, I was a leader for an organization called Young Life, which
Mhm.
is a Christian outreach type of organization, and we had a leadership retreat in which they needed some folks to help with like some of the worship music and stuff like that. And I'm a drummer. I've always been a drummer, and they were like, "Hey, we need someone to play like the drums or the cajon or some type of box drum or something." I was like, "Sure, I can do it, but I don't have my own cajon drum or box drum." So I was like, "You know what? I'm not going to let something get in my way of being able to serve. So I'm going to go build my own." So I built my own cajon box drum, which a cajon box drum is it's a Latin American percussion instrument. It's just literally a wooden box, and it sounds like a little drum. So I made one, posted a video about it, and had a couple friends in the drumming community I was in on Facebook that were like, "Oh, that's really cool. Can you make me one?" And we all know that kind of how that story
Yep.
unfolds because they get one and then they posted a picture and then their friend wanted one, and so next thing you know, I was a junior in college at Western Kentucky University, just hustling out these little wooden box drums. And so that's kind of how I stumbled into my first little business venture, if you will. That wasn't really a real business though. But so then after college, I was just a bad employee. I mean, I was a really bad employee. I was always taking on freelance work and working on three things at once, and it was very
Mhm.
rarely actually my job what I was working on. It was usually a side project or something like that. I was the type of employee that you don't want. Um, and so one day I was like, you know what, I'm sick of this. I want to freelance full time and just build websites and do SEO stuff like that for people. And so then I met these two guys on Twitter.
Mhm.
Despite my mom's best efforts, I met strangers on the internet and took them up on an
Hey, at least it
offer
wasn't
to.
like Craigslist.
Yeah, yeah. So I met them on Twitter. They were actually doing a live stream video like this. And I was like, hey, if you guys ever are turning down work or anything like that, maybe someone's not a good fit, I would love those referrals because I'm kind of, you know, just humoring the thought of maybe doing my own thing. And so then I went and grabbed lunch with them, or not lunch, we went to Starbucks like 2 days later. It was a Monday. And I quit my job that Wednesday after I met them. And they were like, hey, we want to start another agency of sorts, another marketing agency of sorts. And, we have a client lined up that we're going to work with. We just need someone to come handle it. And I was like, I'm in. I was like, just tell me when to quit my job and I'll be there. And so I quit my job on that Wednesday. That was September 29th. Yeah, something like that, September 29th. And then we started Rival the following Monday. And so it's been so perfect for me ever since then because like that's just who I've been this whole time, is just wanting to
Yeah.
do my own thing and just have my own team and build my own culture. So it's been really cool.
Well, that takes a lot of guts to do something like that. And it sounds like you had that your entire life. You were just willing to take risks and just put yourself out there. Would you say, or what would you say, is the main characteristic that you possess that has made you the most successful?
Ooh, I would say main characteristics. One is just being positive, even when it's hard to be
Hmm.
positive. That's a big thing. I see a lot of people get down on themselves so easily, and just being able to kind of be optimistic and see like, all right, this is not ideal, but it's an opportunity for something that could be
Yeah.
awesome. So just being optimistic and positive when it's easy to be negative. And then also just the ability to not think twice and just start on something. So like when we like to do the Colby assessment, kind of like a DISC assessment, and
Hmm.
I'm definitely like a fast start, fast to implement type of person. Like I know it drives my team nuts sometimes because I'll see something on Facebook and get an idea, and then like suddenly I'm like, everyone stop what you're doing, we're gonna go try this now. And I know it drives them nuts because like they're all very organized and they're like, we have processes, Eric, we have tasks, and we need to do them this way.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hold on, there's the shiny object, let's chase it real quick. So I think that that's like the characteristic of any really successful entrepreneur that I've met. Like I know I can tell like Joey's like that as well. It's like, here's this idea, let's make it happen yesterday, and we'll see what happens. Win or fail, it's going to be an opportunity to grow.
That's you're saying that, and that, like, when you just said describe your style, I'm like, this is why you and Joey's conversations go the way they do.
Yeah,
Because he's just like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That night in Nashville a few
Yeah.
weeks ago at Service Nation's event, I didn't think I was ever going to go to bed. I was like, Joey and I were sitting there, and it was just like one idea led to another, and we're just
Yeah.
sitting there talking. I was like, we're going to be up all night knowing the two of us.
I can
But
only imagine what you two could create if you got into a room for an entire day together.
oh gosh, yeah, it would end up. It could be good or trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Seems
Yeah,
like there'd be a lot of new things happening at all
yeah,
times.
yeah.
For the next 20 years, because you two definitely look into the future a lot too.
Yeah.
um, so your team is growing, and
Mhm.
I want to know how you would describe your leadership style.
Ooh, I would love to hear my team's feedback
Yeah,
on
that's
this.
what everyone says. So
So
what do
they,
you
they,
think it is, and what do you think your team would say it is?
so yeah, so there's a book I read once where they pretty much said there's two types of leaders. There's the competent jerk, and then there's the lovable fool. I like to think that I'm kind of in the middle. I feel like
Yeah.
there's definitely got to be a third one because um, I would say my leadership style is definitely very lovable and just kind of joking. I'm the first one on our team to be like, "Hey guys, let's go hit up happy hour,"
Yeah.
and like, whereas like that's usually not the case of most companies. I'm the first one to be like, "All right, we're having team happy hour. We're having a team get together here in Virginia Beach in June," and I'm like, "All right, where's the nearest boat that we can get on and go have
Yeah.
fun instead of just like sitting around, crunching numbers all day." Um, yeah, so I would say it's very, very easygoing and relaxed. But as long as everything is just getting done and getting done right, and our clients are happy, then it's very easygoing. I can't even think of too many times where I've had to be, like super, super hard or strict on anyone because I always tell them at the end of our morning meetings, I just say, please govern yourselves accordingly. And that's just kind of the vibe right there. Just govern yourselves accordingly, and please just do the right thing. So
Well, you have a really great team, because I've had the pleasure of working with a few of them, and they are just all really great. And I copy you on emails, but I'm like, I only do that because I want you to know what's going on, but I don't do it because I feel like you have to know, because I know they're taking care of it. And so
yeah.
it's a really cool thing to see, because they really are wonderful.
Oh, they're awesome. And like Sophia, I think deserves a huge shout out because she does all the
Yes.
back end editing for this stuff. So like once we're done editing here, recording here, we'll download the audio and put it in Dropbox, and then all the lovely listeners out there, like this whole thing shows up Wednesday morning for you. It's Sophia gets on the back end and does all editing stuff and gets it published and writes the description. She's probably shaking her head right now listening to me even talk. She's probably just like, oh my gosh, this guy. But Sophia, you're awesome. We love you.
Yeah.
And same with Jess. Like Jess, she's her kids were sick from school and they came home and got her sick. You all know how that goes. So she was off today, but like she texted me this morning. She's like, all of the client meeting, like the templates are already set. They're already recreated with all the notes and all the lead information. I'm just like, oh, what would I do without you? But
Yes.
yeah, so they're awesome. They're a bunch of rock stars.
They really are. And I think they would say you had a great leadership style. So I think you're doing a great job. And, we have a lot of listeners that are just getting into their career and they kind of don't know where to go or what they want to end up doing. So, and we're coming up on graduation season. So we have a lot of people that are getting ready to venture into new territory. What advice would you give anyone starting their career or that's currently in their career and feeling like they don't know which way to turn?
Oh, be a chameleon. Just like learn anything that you can, even if it sounds like something you were not interested in, just learn it. Like learn as much as you can. Cause like, when I got out of high school and when I got out of college, I was just like, I wasn't angry, but I just felt like I deserved so much more.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to be like number one now. And so I just kind of was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna start learning new stuff. So like I taught myself how to build websites and I taught myself SEO. I learned how to make Latin percussion instruments and set up an e-commerce store and sell them across the country to churches and like started learning sales and learning project management and just try to just learn as much as you can. Not because it makes you more attractive to employers, but just because it'll help you find like what you really are passionate about and what you're actually the best at. So just like any opportunity that you can, like maybe it's learning heating and air conditioning, or maybe it's learning plumbing or finances or whatever it may be, just learn as much as you can, even if that's not what your role is necessarily described as. Like you can be a rock star, customer service representative and just poke into the sales office and be like, hey, can you show me what you did there? Or like how you do this? Or like, what does it look like when you do a service call? Just learn as much as you can. That way, you can really just kind of stand out and find what you're passionate about.
So what is one of the biggest lessons you learned during your journey that you take with you every day?
Ooh, I would say I would say the number one lesson that I've learned is that you're going to get what you let people, like whatever you tolerate, whatever you put up with. So like if you put out into the world that, you're this, how people are going to treat you. So that's one thing I've learned. I've also just learned that like, I know this sounds kind of silly, but like nothing has to be so serious all the time. I feel like there's been times where, especially like running a business, like just up at night, panic attacks, freaking out. We've got people on payroll who are trusting us with their healthcare benefits and their salary and their rent and their mortgages. And I'm just like, oh no, these clients are going to be mad. They're going to leave. And I think the thing that is eventually kind of worn in is just like, everything's going to be okay. It might not work out the way that you want it to, but it's going to work out however it's already supposed to work out. So just take a breath and just kind of look for the positive because, it can just drive you nuts if you try to overthink things that are outside of your control.
100%. And what do they say? Like 90% of what we worry about never happens.
Yeah. Like I'll have the most bizarre like fears and random like 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm just like, oh no, I forgot to do this. And like everyone's going to be mad and we're going to go out of business and everyone's going to be homeless. And then it's like, nope, that's not even a thing. I call the person the next day and everything's just as fine and dandy as it could be. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just stayed up for 4 hours for nothing.
Exactly. Now I need a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true. try to tell myself that every single time that I'm stressed about something, which is very often. I'm like 90% of what you're worrying about never happens. Stop.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I just may say just like I can't remember. I was trying to say a quote at the beginning of that, something about like whatever you allow people to treat you like is what you're going to get. Um, so yeah, just treat yourself with the type of respect that you would want other people to treat you with. But then also just like don't sweat all the small stuff. It's going to work out.
Yeah. And, you've been a role model to me because, our journey, I started learning about Rival Digital before Roger started using Rival Digital for website services and podcasting and all of that good stuff. But I was following you, and I like to learn about people. That's one reason
Mhm.
why I'm doing the Rogers Radio podcast. But I love learning about people. So I was following you and I was listening to your podcast, and you've been a role model to me because you are a risk taker and an implementer, and you just try stuff. And it's like, if it doesn't work, we'll try something else. But you're always willing
Yeah.
to put yourself out there. And I know that there are so many others that feel that way. So I want to know, what does it feel like to you to be looked at as a role model? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel incredibly grateful, for sure. Just because, as I mentioned, kind of growing up, I was the kid in the back that was getting in trouble, and I was like a lot of almost every entrepreneur I ever talked to is the same way. I was the kid that the teachers didn't want other kids being like, and
Yeah.
and so now it's kind of I mean, it's humbling and pretty cool feeling to think that um, people look up to me, but it's also it's also something I don't want to take lightly.
Yeah.
Like I've had to think about that a lot lately too. Like um, I used to just like put stuff on the internet joking around, but now I realize like when I put stuff on the internet, people are gonna like listen to it and maybe even implement it into their business. And so I'm
Right.
like, ooh, maybe I should like double check this and like maybe just read it twice over before I post it on the internet because people are like reading it and they may even go, I don't know, trust their livelihoods with what I just put on Facebook.
You
So
have a large following, and a lot of people are, following what you're doing. And when Rival steps into the room and is present, like, the presence is known. And that's huge. That's a huge deal.
yeah, it's exciting. It's also
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, it is. It is. But,
Yeah,
we're here to help people and help them
yeah.
grow. And to be able to do that and just watch your journey doing that is amazing.
Yeah,
What you've been
I
able to.
would say too, like on the flip side, you guys are definitely role models to us. Like when we came up there for the New Year kickoff event
Yeah.
we did for the with the team when we had that awesome leadership session with Mike from the Food Dog group, and we did the
Yep.
fire walking and all that stuff. I feel like since we did that fire walking, my fast start instincts have like tripled because now I'm just like I walked across fire.
Yeah.
This is we're just looking at adding a widget to a website. Why haven't we done this already? Go do it
Yeah.
now. It's just like just full send. But it's been awesome because like that was something that the I guess like the session leader had mentioned. He was like, if you do this, like when you are facing that next, challenging meeting or that thing you're not looking forward to, it's just remember you literally walked across fire. You just full send went across fire. So now it's carried over even to that, where I'm just like, I don't know, I'm contemplating picking up the phone and calling someone or
Yeah.
taking a meeting that I know is going to be a challenge. I'm just like, send it. Who cares?
Yep.
So yeah, you guys have definitely been awesome to us, and we really appreciate working with you.
Well, we appreciate you, and we are looking forward to all of the things that we're going to accomplish together because, when you and Joey are in a room, you guys look out, everyone listening, because there's no telling what's to come when Eric and Joey get in the room together.
Yeah, yeah. It could, like I say, it could be really good or scary.
Yeah.
But it'll end up good. We'll end up, building a rocket ship or something.
Yes, it'll be great. And we were just in Nashville, like you mentioned earlier, at the International Roundtable with Service Nation, and I think the talk of the event was podcasting. A lot of people
Mhm.
talking about podcasting. I think we ended the event with people wanting the Rogers package.
Yeah.
So tell us about podcasting and your podcast and how people can get started, because it can be like
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. So that's something I'm really excited that we're talking about. Yeah, it was like unexpectedly probably the highlight of the show for us, and I think it was for a lot of people too. Just because it's been such a native, like unknown territory for business owners. Like, I can't start a podcast. That's for Joe Rogan or that's for
Right.
Gary Vee. But like, no, you can start a business, your own business podcast and interview your community, and you know, just get to know your community and build relationships in your community and stuff like that. And the day we were there sitting at our table, we had 5 different business owners come up to us saying, just walk straight up to us, point blank, no small talk, no how's the weather. It was, I want to start a podcast. And I'm like, oh, okay. We also sell websites and digital advertising. That's what we're here for. But yeah, we can help you with a podcast. And it was like one after the other, was just boom, boom, boom. We want a podcast. So after we were done with our table, we packed it all up. I went straight up to my room and I was like, I gotta figure out how to sell this stuff. I was like, all right. So I went in there and made a slide presentation and put together some pricing and what's included in the different programs. And we actually named one of the tiers the Rogers plan or the Rogers package.
Yeah.
So yeah, we offer podcasting services now, and that's kind of like what we've been kind of chatting about this whole time about, just like being quick to start on things.
Yeah.
We could have easily just been like, sorry, we can't help you with that just yet. Maybe in 6 months. But I was just like, yep, we can do it now. Let's start, and I'll go up to my room and figure out the rest. So that's just kind of just how we roll around here. But yeah, we do the podcasting stuff, and that includes helping you set up the intro, outro music, the thumbnails, all the cool creative assets for it, and getting it streamed to Apple and Spotify. And then we have, just depending on how many episodes you want. Some people want 1 a month, 2 a month, 4 a month. It's just that's kind of how we package the different tiers up. But it's super simple. You find your guests, you sit down and record with them, and then you upload the audio into a Dropbox folder, and then you wake up on Wednesday morning, Friday morning, whatever day we set as our release day, and then there's an episode there for you. So that's kind of how the process works. It's super hands off for the business owner.
It really is. It's so easy.
And so we have now set up, I'm going to put this in the comments. Oh, wait, I'm going to put this in the private chat of this so that I can just remember it for later. But we have a website now. It's hvacpodcast.com.
Yay! I did not know this. This is like breaking news.
Yeah, this is breaking news. And there's literally 2 options on there. One is listen to my podcast. And then the other option is start your own podcast. And if you click on that, it'll just take you to a page that has some more info on, podcasting services. But yeah, that is in a nutshell kind of our little podcast spiel.
Oh, and by the way, y'all do websites too.
we also build websites. Good times.
and do all that good stuff, which you do for Rogers too. And I mean, we have a top-notch website, I will say. Rogers, callrogers.com. Banging. And that is thanks to Rival Digital too. So
yeah, it's an awesome website.
That total Rogers package. And it really is not getting past the fear of getting on a mic and just talking. I mean, how many Zoom meetings do we do nowadays? Like all of business owners, and it's just kind of part of life now is Zoom meetings. And that's kind of what this is like today, the first one.
Yeah.
And so if you can get on a Zoom meeting every day for whatever it may be, you can talk to someone and start a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's literally that simple.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're already sitting on Zoom all day anyway. It's probably boring meetings, and this is fun. So
yeah, it is, and getting to know people. So, and it really does help business and attract customers, and helps everyone on the outside get to know the business that they're dealing with more, and you kind of it's really great in a lot of ways. And I know we could go on and on about all the great things, but thank you for making it a reality here at Rogers
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
pushing me to do it.
Yeah, no, you've got what it takes. So
Well,
that's all that matters.
Well, it happens with the help and support of you and Sophia and everyone at Rival Digital. And I just really can't thank you enough for everything you've done for us and everything you continue to do and being on the Rogers Radio podcast today.
Yeah, no, this is so exciting. I'm enjoying being being on the podcast. So thank you for having me on as a guest.
Yeah, and I have to ask the final question that I ask on every episode. And
Okay.
this is what I ended with. If you could have dinner with one living person outside of your family, who would it be?
Ooh, I think you have asked me this before,
Yeah.
and my answer at the time was Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I think that would still would be an awesome dinner. If I could pick someone else, maybe like a runner-up, since I've answered this one already. Um, I'd probably say someone like Mark Cuban or
Okay.
like another solid
Yeah.
like business person that's just kind of like a serial entrepreneur, stuff like that. So yeah, just so we could just I don't know, just pick their brain and kind of just see who they are as well.
Well, that would be a good one. And he would be a fun one. I think you two would get along really well.
Yeah, I think I would get along with Mark Cuban pretty well. I think that'd be kind
Yeah,
of
I
fun.
think so. I think y'all would really hit it off. No telling what you two in a room could accomplish and get
Oh
done. So we
gosh,
need to make this
yeah,
happen.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, thank you again for being here. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the Rogers Radio podcast today. I can't wait to talk to you again next week. Continue commenting, subscribing, reviewing, sending all the feedback. Tell me what you think of this setup here, because this is our first time virtually. So let me know what you think. And again, thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next week.